Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Ravvy of Ravvy Plays Games, and today we're taking a first look at the Deconstruction DLC for House Builder, an immersive building simulation game. I've been playing this game and its various DLCs for a while, and I was curious about how it would feel to undo some of my previous work. Let's start with a quick tour of the house we're going to deconstruct in this video. This is a Roman house with brick walls and clay roof tiles. It has a hallway that runs all the way around an inner room where a pool made of decorative tiles is the dominant feature. If we go around to the other side of the exterior, we see an outdoor patio with several plants, trees, and rocks surrounded by a wooden fence. That's what it looked like after construction. Now, let's jump right into deconstruction. We'll gather our tools and start tackling the process of taking this build apart. I tend to play the game with the UI at a small scale, so let's take a closer look at the mission objectives on the right side of the screen. In the lower right corner, there is a list of steps detailing the current objectives. We need to cut down bushes, smash rocks, and move some of the plants to a new location. Tapping your Z key in this game is very helpful as it will highlight the items for the objectives with what the game calls your builder sense. On the middle right side is a list with quantities of items we're going to build with. In the base game and construction DLCs, this list includes everything throughout the entire job. In the Deconstruction DLC, it only lists the materials that we will reclaim and repurpose elsewhere on the map. If something isn't on that list, we're going to eliminate it completely. After I used my machete to eliminate all the bushes from around the house, my task list was updated and instructed me to destroy windows and doors with a hammer. It was sometimes difficult to locate the hitbox to clear some of the pieces during this process. That is probably one of my bigger critiques of this DLC. It happened from time to time in the base game and other DLCs as well, so it's not an issue that is an outlier in terms of how House Builder generally performs, but it is something that I wanted to make note of here in this first look video, since it definitely occurs in the Deconstruction DLC. I used the Z key to activate my builder sense to track down the last bits of windows and doors that I hadn't fully cleared, and I was able to update my task list once more. The next step was dismantling the ridge tiles. Looking at my build materials list on the right side, I could see the ridge tiles were being repurposed, so this time I needed to reclaim materials rather than destroy them. Apparently, I have the skill to both demolish large wooden doors and also delicately remove clay tiles without breaking them with the swing of my sledgehammer. Brilliant. Once I had all the ridge tiles, I carried them over to the location marked on the map. Then it's back to the roof to destroy the remaining tiles and their framework. This section started in an odd way, as I was required to interact with the open gateway of the fence to initiate the nail removal process. Then it was time to go nail by nail around the fence with precise mouse work, a somewhat large contrast to the previous tile smash fest with the sledgehammer. And once the nails were out, I freed up my hands to collect the fence rails. With hammer back in hand, it was time to demolish the brick walls. It was noisy yet satisfying. I took a second pass to get all the sections I'd missed during my initial chaotic attempt. By some quirk of fate, the rose bushes in the center of that disassembly fest survived, so it was time to grab my shovel and rescue the roses so they could be replanted in front of a nearby building. The next reclamation project was obtaining the decorated tiles at the pool. Similar to the ridge tiles from the roof, I was able to skillfully remove the tiles with a pickaxe without even a single scratch.
Brilliant!
I realized that I wasn't able to pick up any of the tiles because my 4 slots for carrying materials were full, so it was time to head to the selling spot. In House Builder, you have to unlock each project with funds from an account that is part of the base game, but also pays to unlock the various DLC jobs as well. You earn money on successful job completions, and you can also sell locations you've purchased in the past. Being able to sell back excess materials like this within jobs is a nice way to let players be as efficient as possible with their game funds. For some reason, the game didn't want to let me step down into the pool, so I hovered over it and was luckily able to clear all the tiles from above. I finished turning in the ones marked for reclamation and sold the excess.
Brilliant!
Last but not least, I needed to clear the plants and trees from the back patio.
Brilliant!
This is where I encountered some oddness. I expected to be planting the small bushes per the build list. The tall green trees were not on the build list, but I ended up needing to plant them alongside a road in an area where I discovered the wheels from the build list on the ground. Placing the wheels on the highlighted spots magically made a large wagon structure appear. It took me a while to track down the location for the small green bushes. Then I remembered to head back where I had dropped off the ridge tiles, and sure enough, that was the spot. Somehow, I was still not done, even though my builder's sense did not activate for the older trees that had been part of the landscaping in the back patio. Mousing over the trees, I saw an indication that said, "Use an axe." Since I didn't see any other means of finishing the job, I went ahead and chopped them down. That was all it took, and the deconstruction of the Roman house was complete. So that's our first look at the Deconstruction DLC for House Builder. Overall, I'd say the gameplay felt pretty on par with the base game and other DLCs that I've played. It's pretty enjoyable, but definitely could use a little bit more polish. I'd love to see some updates to the hitboxes and corrections such as the missing items on the build list and trees that were not showing up with my builder sense. I do feel like the good job type audio responses were more varied in the base game and other DLCs. They got a little repetitive on each task in this job. There was also no music in this level, just the sound effects and verbal kudos. So yes, there are definitely some things I'd love to see improved in this DLC, but if you are already a fan of the House Builder game and DLCs, I think you'll find this one to be of a similar vibe and quality. I'll put a link to the DLC page on Steam down in the video description below. Let me know if you've tried this DLC and how you think it compares to the other House Builder DLCs down in the comments. Thank you for joining me in this first look at the House Builder Deconstruction DLC. Until next time, take care of yourself, be well. Bye for now from Ravvy at Ravvy Plays Games. See you soon!